Joe, I'm going to have to let you answer this one first. Byron Scott on LeBron James being considered the GOAT. He says great players don't join multiple teams.
Boo-hoo! Let me play a sad song for you on the world's smallest violin.
Message.
All right, y'all. Welcome back to Tyler Rose TV. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe. Best basketball show on YouTube. Let's go. Hey, listen. Today's video, we have Byron Scott, right? And we have Shannon Sharpe. So Byron Scott has some words about greatness and pertaining to LeBron James and the fact that he's been able to play for multiple teams. And, basically the basis of his quote is, listen, great players don't got to go a lot and leave a lot. They usually play with one team or two teams their whole career. And obviously Shannon Sharpe don't like that. And anytime there's something, that is not pro LeBron, we expect a response from Shannon Sharpe. So what I'm going to do for you guys, we're going to get right into it. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe. But what we're going to do, we're going to run the clip, right, of what Byron Scott had to say. Then we're going to get into Shannon Sharpe's clip. So you don't want to miss this. Hit that subscribe and hit the bell so you get notified when I make some new videos. My views been going down. I don't know if y'all getting the alerts or something. I don't know what's going on, but let's get into it.
Look at the history of the NBA. Most great players that are considered the greatest, even Will Chamberlain. You start Bill Russell, you start going down the line. Most of those guys play with one team, maybe two.
Yeah.
So I think the standard that we're holding him up on is probably sometimes a little unfair because of the fact that, those guys, again, they make their own decisions. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And LeBron, like it or not, he's able to go to this team. But I think when you start to really kind of unravel everything, that's not what great players do.
And if you can't see this point, let me break it down for you. Jordan, Kobe, Steph Curry, Tim Duncan, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, Bill Russell, a lot of those guys was all-time greats, right? They stayed with their team, and the reason why we look at them in a different light is because we know they stood down when things were hard, when things were bad, when they weren't winning, when things were great, they were there, and when things were bad, they were there. And the problem is if you get a chance to leave every time things aren't going your way, you have an opportunity to win more. And your expectations are to win because you're playing with greater talent. Younger talent typically is what he always goes to. He always plays with the younger talent, And for Byron Scott to say that, I don't really feel like that's unfair. I don't really feel like that's hate. I don't really feel like that's a problem. But obviously Shannon Sharpe has a problem with it. And we're going to get into what he had to say. So if you're new to the channel, like I said, hit that subscribe. But let's get into what he got to say.
What happened, man?
All right, there's no reason for your head to be back that far, bro. It's just LeBron, bro. It's just basketball talk. There is no reason for this man to do this.
Joe, I'm going to have to let you answer this one first. Byron Scott on LeBron James being considered the GOAT. He says great players don't join multiple teams. Most of us judge LeBron based on guys that just mentioned. I'll throw one more guy in there, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He got traded from Milwaukee to L.A., right? So two teams, his whole career, MJ, two teams basically, in the whole career. So when you're judging LeBron, you're looking at a guy of the greatest players of all time and they and what they did at those organizations. They basically never left.
Come on, man.
Huh? Man, Joe Johnson, shut up, bro. God dang, bro.
Hey, listen. I don't know why they go at Bron so much. Maybe it's because he did lead the Lakers, considering the fact that he could have went back there. He could have went back to L.A. Uncle Ocho. But come on, man. I don't know why he gets the scrutiny that he gets. It's okay, man. He ain't got to.
Well, because right now they got a podcast. And you beat him up right now, you're going to get clicks and likes. You're going to get mentioned. Okay. Now, he said, the fact of the matter, he said multiple teams. Multiple teams mean more than one.
Here's the thing about that. Like, be honest with you guys, there's many people who are opinionated about LeBron who've probably held back for a long time, considering the fact that, they didn't want to be on bad mouthing, quote unquote, when it's not really bad mouthing. It's just kind of expressing the honest truth about his career, his trajectory, and where he stands. And there's plenty of people in the media who've been for years and years pushing a narrative that's not true. So when you finally get ex-players, and majority of ex-players and current players will always favor the Jordan career path, the Curry, the Duncan, the Kobe career path over what LeBron has done. So yeah, you can say you can get more clicks by talking about LeBron, but it's not like they're just talking about him for no reason. It's relevant because at the moment, this man just went to Philly. Like, we're not just pulling this, something out of thin air, bro. He just went to Philly after they acquired Jaylen Brown, and they already had a talented roster. They already went to the semifinals. They came back 3-1 with barely, two other great players on the team now. Like, come on, man. It's a different scenario.
Back then, guys, it's kind of like in the NFL. Guys couldn't move like they can now, Ocho. Guys couldn't move like they move in basketball. So I guess Shaq couldn't be considered a great player. KD can't be considered a great player. LeBron, Charles Barkley, Karl Malone.
He's saying GOAT, man. He didn't say you can't be a great player, but the greatest of all time, typically those greatest players, they're so valuable to their team, they stay. They stay 10 toes down. The team is not getting rid of them.
Moses Malone, Akeem Olajuwon.
And also the Shaq situation, Shaq even mentioned the Lakers weren't able to give him that full max contract they wanted. That's the reason he left the Lakers. So he went to free agency from Magic for the Orlando Magic to the Lakers, and then didn't stay with the Lakers because they weren't going to give him that full max amount of money. And for good reason. Think about Shaq. After that season they lost to the Pistons, he had maybe 2 more good years, and then after that, Phoenix was like the last of it. So if he signed an extension that was worth a lot of money, we'd be tied up to a lot of money with an older Shaq who never took care of his body, who never was healthy really, as far as being at the tip-top shape of his career. So I don't think it was a bad move for LA for what they did, and they went to 3 straight finals, and he won back-to-back finals, so I don't think it was a bad idea for them not to give Shaq that max extension with the dollars. You see Andrew Bynum end up being a decent center. Paul Gasol, they had people down low who could essentially take up some of what Shaq used to do.
Come on, what are we doing, man? What are we doing? I don't care if he went to 20 teams. How good was he on those teams? Every team he played for, they won a championship. Every team that he played for, he was an all-NBA selection. How many guys can say, you know what? I've been on 4 different teams, and I've been an all-NBA selection on all of them.
Bro, come on, bro. You think 20 different teams, like you're trying to say that if Jordan in his height decided, hey, let me go team up with Charles Barkley and Isaiah Thomas, let me go team up with Karl Malone and John Stockton, like, you don't think that if Michael Jordan went to go play with top 10 players, top 5 players at that, Dwayne Wade, Anthony Davis, some of the best players, Luka Doncic, some of the best players in his career, you don't think that he would have won more championships or pretty much won a championship on every team he was on if he stayed and played with younger players and changed the situation that had more assets to go there? Like, everybody could have been doing this. You gotta understand, this is a foreign concept to the NBA. Most players chase rings when they're, in their later years of their career. Like the Twilight Zone. I want to finally say I can win something. They haven't done that when they were 26, 30, 32, 33.
Probably no.
Every team that I've played for, I've gone to an NBA Finals. 3 of those 4 teams that I've been on, I've won an NBA Finals. I've won a Finals MVP. Yeah, it would be great. People always talk about players not being loyal, but hold on. And you said something very interesting. And I love B. Scott. And B. Scott know this because we used to work out in the same gym when I was in LA. And I see him, and we always mess up. We end up talking for an hour and mess up our workout because we talking basketball, we talking football. But the fact of the matter is, Milwaukee traded Kareem. Where was the loyalty?
What does that have to do? What does that have to do with anything? Being traded, it doesn't mean you're disloyal. The organization decides to take their matters into their hands, which they have the respective rights to do, unless you have a no trade clause. If they decide to part ways with you, we don't look at you as like, yo, you're not loyal. You're not loyal. It's the franchise decided to trade you. That's different. That's a totally different situation than you wanting to leave every time the moment is ready for you to find more talent or a better opportunity for you to go win. That's different. Because you're not sticking with the franchise after they went 10 toes down for you, got rid of assets for trades for players that are superstars in their prime who are ready to win. You've been able to come short with that. And then once things aren't working the way you want, it's like, okay, now it's time for me to leave. After we've done everything, depleted our assets, and brought in the talent that you wanted, you decide it's time to go. That's where you got to look at it like, if you're doing all this for me, I owe something back to this team, and I want to stay 10 toes down. And that's where I have a problem with what LeBron does.
Where was the loyalty? The Lakers traded Shaq. Where was the loyalty? Or
Again, Shaq was traded. Shannon Sharpe doesn't know what he's talking about. Shaq was traded, and he mentioned it because the Lakers didn't want to offer him enough money that he would have liked. And I think it was a good move for the franchise.
Orlando traded Shaq. Where was the loyalty? We expect
Orlando didn't trade Shaq. Shaq was a free agent.
loyalty from the players, but we don't demand loyalty from the organization. The organization says, we're doing what's in the best interest of the organization. A player does what's in the best interest. Oh, he's running from time. He running. He chasing rings. What are the teams chasing?
Teams are chasing not being in that second apron. That's teams are chasing that. No, not a lot of teams are chasing rings. There's probably like 5 to 10 franchises who are actually really trying to spend money to win. Be honest with you, a lot of these franchises are in it for business. Mark Cuban said it himself. When his team wasn't winning, he made more money. You get it? So stop acting like every team is trying to make the best move to win. It's not. Yes, the players have a right in free agency to go places, but you also got to understand if you're with a franchise that has built around you, and the problem I get the most was with that first ring around with Cleveland, the first stint with Cleveland. They had 66 wins. Only 4 teams have won 66 games in the NBA history. Of those 4 teams, every team won a championship besides that Cleveland team. So if you won 66 wins, if you had 66 wins, you were pretty much a set to be an NBA champion. Every team in history has done it, including the 2012 Miami Heat. I believe that was one of the teams that was on there. So the 09 Cavs with LeBron, it was the only team that came up short. So when people make it seem like what they did to build around LeBron wasn't enough, I think it was enough. You don't win 66 wins and have the best record in the league, including having the better record than the champions, which was the 2009 Lakers, who won the NBA Finals. They had a better record. They were the best team in the league. Top 10 defense, everything, shooting, defense, rebounding, everything they needed to surround LeBron with, just like how Philly would do with AI. They did it. And it's like, you can't sit there and say a franchise is not trying to win if you can win 66 games by surrounding your superstar with top tier talent. Maybe those top tier talent is not ideal of big names, but you have to surround them with the right pieces around them for them to win. And if he didn't have the right pieces, he wasn't going to win. Trust me. We seen what happened when he went to LA the first time around. He didn't make the playoffs. They weren't the greatest team, but they didn't have all the right pieces around him. So if you have the right pieces around a great player, you can do that. And I'm not saying LeBron's not a great player. He is. But you have to have the right pieces around him. Now, to take your team to the next step, that's something I feel like we kind of haven't seen unless he had a real top-heavy type of superstar caliber guy next to him. I don't think he wins any championships with a guy that's kind of like a, not a real all-time all-NBA first team type of player. I don't see him winning with anything but an all-time first team type of guy, not a second and third team. No, a first team type of guy has to be in the formula for LeBron to win. He needs an AD, he needs a D Wade, he needs like a Kyrie type of guy, or Kevin Love. Like, he needs top-heavy talent, and that's the problem we have with him. It's like you need top-heavy talent, and you constantly always want it, even when the teams did everything for you to win, put the pieces in front of you, you want to leave. And it's like, bro, we can't judge you the same as people who stayed and could have potentially won more championships to boost their, legacy. No, they stayed with their franchise. So that's why the comparison is different.
Why did Miami trade for Giannis? You don't think they're chasing rings?
Yeah.
Why did 76ers trade for Jaylen Brown? You don't think they're chasing rings? What are we doing here? If you're in a sport, aren't you trying to win said championship of your sport? I would like to think so. Now, maybe everybody's not under that same. Everybody ain't trying to win. Everybody just because you're gonna make X amount of dollars whether you win or lose. Okay, I get all that, but I just don't get this. So now the man can't be. It would be great if guys could stay like the old Celtics. All those, for the most part, those guys stayed there. And Elgin Baylor stayed there, and Jerry West stayed there, and Gail. But it's not like that anymore, guys. Y'all know that, B. Scott. In today.
So I'm gonna end it because I don't want to really hear him cry no more. But listen, let me tell you something, bro. Stephen Curry is going to be a Golden State Warrior through and through. I don't even think if there's an opportunity for him to leave that he'll be like, hey, listen, I'm gonna go. I heard that Boston was trying to get him, and they were like, nah, he's staying. And when he says that, right, he fails to realize this one thing. If LeBron decides to stay with the Cleveland Cavaliers his whole career, you think they're going to trade him? Do you think they're trading LeBron James? Has any team decided to trade LeBron James so far? No. Maybe they didn't get a chance to because he left too soon. But listen, you go look back at those early Cleveland days. You know, once Boston is out of here, Dwight Howard ended up going to the Lakers. Boston was on their last leg. Who knows what LeBron could have done if he just stayed in the Cleveland jersey? I don't think he wins 4 rings, but I think he might win 2 or 3. And who knows? Maybe he wins more. Maybe he gets a piece. Maybe they work out something. Maybe they just get Chris Bosh. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they just get one piece. You know, one other superstar. I don't have a problem if he had one other, superstar guy there. It's okay to have 2 superstars. But when you join 2 in the middle of their prime and they're all on the conference, you kind of shrink the competition around you and put it all on your roster. And then you're saying, now let's go to work. And then you come up short in 2011. So these things are continuing to be stains on the legacy. I don't want to hear no excuses. I don't want to hear about it. Hate. It is what it is. Byron Scott has something to say about it. He has his right to his opinion, and Shannon Sharpe has the right to his opinion, and so do I. But now it's time to hear your opinion. So if you're new to this channel, leave a comment down below, hit that subscribe and bell, and I'm going to see you guys in the next video. Peace.